Hi, everyone. Thanks again for joining us. I hope you had a good weekend, and we are really excited to bring you a very strong lineup, I think, this week of video interviews culminating on Friday. Make sure you mark this down at noon, our 6:05 Made live virtual market, where you will get to do some live local shopping. Can't wait to give some business to our local artists through that event. But first, we are going to start with, I think, what's going to be a fascinating look inside a place I suspect you have done some business in the last few weeks, and that's Hy-Vee. And I'm very excited to be joined by Tina Potthoff. She's their Senior Vice President of Communications, coming to me from Iowa, I believe, right, where Hy-Vee is based. Thanks so much for being with me, Tina.
Thanks so much for having me on your show today. I appreciate it.
Well, what an experience this must have been to be in leadership at Hy-Vee over the last few weeks. How is it going today? How are things going at the store level? And we've got some actual breaking news to share today too, as far as some more changes, right? I feel like that's kind of been the theme here, change throughout the store. But how's it going today, and what more is going to be changing, Tina?
It's been going, how do I put it? It's been very interesting from week to week. Let's just put it that way. There's been things that we've really had to change in our business that we typically thought were going to happen over a matter of 2-3 years, online business being one of them, the expansion of that. And then it ended up happening within 2 or 3 weeks. So it's definitely been interesting to be in the grocery business. And every week does change. You're right. I mean, as we look at all of our 8 states that we're in, South Dakota included, of different rules and regulations being implemented, not only at the state level, but sometimes the county level and other times the federal level. Trying to follow the bouncing ball can be difficult, but I think we're hanging in there, and we're in it obviously for the long haul. Being an essential worker, I think it's a different situation. You know, usually when a tornado goes through a community or a flood happens, we're there to provide support through food and other comfort items. But, you know, to kind of be in the front lines of this and really working in and being one of the, few places that's open where people can go to get food or actually go to get out to do a quick chore has really changed our business, really.
How about specifically in Sioux Falls? How would you say our stores are holding up?
They're doing really, really good. The Sioux Falls community has been extremely supportive. I will tell you that the aisles online there has skyrocketed. It's pretty much quadrupled over, the business has quadrupled even over just the past few weeks. So when it comes to really being prepared for that, we as a grocery store had to take our plan, which essentially was a 1 or 2 year plan, and really implement that much quicker than we ever thought we'd have to. But customers have been fantastic. It's been great to work with employees and really see them all come together. Sioux Falls has also been very supportive. Just this past weekend, we actually held a giveaway where we were giving away free avocados. And that's simply because we have some people that are farmers or suppliers that have some extra produce, so they may have some extras, things that they can't necessarily get through the food system, so they're looking to do mass drop-offs. And we've been happy to take those, either give them to food banks or give them to customers. But yeah, you would think free avocados, we never thought we'd ever be doing a contactless drive-through giveaway for that. But it's something we definitely don't want to see those things go to waste, and so we're trying to give them out to the local community.
Yeah, absolutely. With aisles online, I keep thinking of the analogy of you don't build the church for Christmas, right? And yet here we go. All of a sudden, it's like standing room only equivalent at a business all the time. Do you feel like those systems are starting to loosen up a little bit, where maybe people won't have to be waiting quite so long for their groceries?
Yeah, I do. So just recently, we have been changing the way that we're doing pickup. We're also opening more slots with our third-party delivery options. We use Instacart, DoorDash, of course, and they really have been able to help us still fulfill a need that's there, so that we don't have cars and trucks, and really taking the employees that are filling the orders in the stores, we can keep them there so they can continue to work on that in that regard. I know some people in the initial phase were concerned that we originally did go to DoorDash and some of these other agencies, but in order to make this work and fulfill the need, there's just so much demand for it. It's the best way we feel to serve our customers at this point in time.
Well, and inside the store, there have been changes. There are more changes, even within the last hour. We're speaking late on Monday, April 27th, but your team announced that we would begin to see all the associates wearing masks, right? So talk a little bit about how that's working and what other physical changes you've made or maybe you're going to be making to those stores.
Yeah, so really when it comes down to what we've implemented in the stores, when it comes to public safety, has been very much mirrored by what the CDC has said. And so the CDC several weeks ago came out and they said, we want to highly recommend that people, when they go in public, wear masks. At that point in time, we had already secured more than 200,000 masks for all of our employees to wear. We handed those out, but we followed what the CDC had said, which says it's highly recommended that you wear these. As of today, on Monday, all of our stores are going to mandatory usage of the mask or some type of personalized face covering. So for example, if the mask we gave out, someone doesn't fit comfortably, it might slide around, whatever it might be, as long as they have on some type of facial covering, we're okay with that, but we want everyone to have a facial covering when they go in and work at our stores. We are highly recommending it for our customers that are coming in. That's not a mandate for our customers, of course, but we are highly recommending it, especially as we start to see states doing different things. You know, some states are really clamping down much harder on this, and other states are starting to open up. So we wanted to do something across the board for all of our 8 states. For example, Illinois just talk about that they will do mandatory mask wearing for everyone that is in the state. So we have that's going on. And then we also have other states that are loosening up their guidelines just a little bit. But in order to protect health and safety and just be as safe as we could be, we did move to that mandatory mask implementation today.
Yeah, that's got to be a lot to manage with stores across 8 states, different guidelines, changing guidelines all the time, lots to keep track of. You know, one of the things that we have emphasized here locally is this idea of 1 person per household and try to only go grocery shopping once a week. You know, how much of a difference does that make within the store when it's just 1 person as opposed to somebody maybe bringing the family for an outing to go grocery shopping?
You know, I think it's, again, we're all changing consumer behavior throughout this process too. So, you know, how many times are you a mom and you just drag the kids along to go to the grocery store because it's something to do, or even, you know, to get out of the house for a little bit, and to really tell our customers, hey, the best way for all of us to get through this is to limit 1 person per household to actually go into your weekly shopping for you. And even to take it a step further, we did announce this, you know, that there were other government agencies that said, even if they can be the same person that does the shopping for you on a regular basis, you know, once a week or whenever you want to go. So it's been a habit change. And we also have to recognize that the whole world doesn't have caretakers at home where they can just leave their kids behind when they have to go to the grocery store. So again, that wasn't a mandate. That's definitely a heavy requirement. But we also understand that there are a lot of single moms, single dads, single caregivers that are out there that occasionally do have to bring a minor into the store, or someone that they're shopping for, and we obviously respect that. So I've heard some stories coming in through our customer care. You know, why does this individual have someone else with them? And you never know their situation. Just like from our 7 to 8 a.m. hour, where we have that set aside for people who are at risk. Just because somebody who's 30 and looks healthy doesn't necessarily mean that they're healthy. They could be immunocompromised too. So, you know, we're doing our best to make sure that you know, we're not the ones to judge. So we want to put restrictions and requirements in place and hope that people are using their best judgment.
And again, pickup and delivery can be your friend. Now, when it comes to the merchandise itself and those things that might drive people into the store a few times a week, just trying to see what they can find, you know, how's the supply chain looking? How's your inventory looking? What's in stock? What's harder to keep in stock?
Well, you know, we always talk about the toilet paper, right? And what's happening with the toilet paper and the other supplies. What initially happened with that, and we're still a little perplexed at why there was this big rush on toilet paper. We obviously knew that we had supply, but there was just an excessive rush in the beginning of all this demand, and there continues to be. So the supply chain is certainly catching up with itself. But one of the things we have seen with consumer behavior with that is that people, if you're normally a Charmin purchaser and maybe Charmin isn't on the shelf, then you may be switching to a different category. And so from this, we may actually see some brands that may have that usually have brand loyalty. They may actually hop. They may start hopping into different brands as people try new and different things. Same thing goes with hand sanitizers and soaps. You know, if you have a special one that you always wanted to purchase, but now you have to look at the other one, or maybe it's a no-name brand or a generic brand, you may find that, hey, you're okay with that too, and you'll just stick with that. So the next thing that we're looking at now, we had a couple weeks ago been looking at eggs and the supply of eggs. Eggs, we don't have every single brand on the shelf. Sometimes we may have more the premium brand on the shelf. Sometimes it's the lower price brand that's on the shelf, but it's not every single brand. But we do have eggs. And now the thing that we're really watching this week is really what it comes down to meat. Making sure that as we see some of these cases showing up at these meat producing plants, packing plants, that we're also staying in close contact with our suppliers too. And right now I think we're all just seeing what's going to shake out of that, but that's something we have a close eye on is making sure that, when it comes to meat, pork, any other type of meat products in our service counters that we're going to have enough supply. But you could see the same thing had with toilet paper happen with that too, which is where you may not have your favorite brand there, but you may have to go with a different brand.
Right. I was going to say, this does not mean rush out and clear out the meat department. It can only, in the freezers, this is only going to last for so long. So that helps for everybody too. How about produce? How's that holding up?
Produce is actually looking really, really good. We have found that people seem to be buying more produce than they normally would. I'm sure there's two reasons for that. I think one is that they're, eating from home, and so they're obviously using it a little bit more often than they would if they're going to the local restaurants. And the other one is I think people are cognizantly trying to remain healthy throughout this whole process. So we have actually seen an increase in people buying produce and healthy foods, which is great. So I think people are trying to be as cognizant as possible on that.
Absolutely. Milk too, hanging in there okay?
Milk, yeah, milk is doing really well. Milk is, we're not having any problems with milk that I know of right now. So, but again, I mean, that's also another one where it just really depends on, somebody had sent me a picture of a shelf that was wiped clean of milk. And it just so happens that they had a rush on milk that day due to a sale. It wasn't because there was supply issue. It was actually due to a good price on milk. So, but we always look at that stuff. So if anyone has any questions about that, they just need to send it into our customer care, because we always want to make sure, number one, we're paying attention to prices, and number two, that we're paying attention to supply as well. But I can tell you, I mean, we are still running sales, and occasionally, sirloin was on sale this weekend, and some of our stores ran out of sirloin, but that wasn't because of a supply chain issue. It was just because of demand, and people went in and they got it.
That was one of the biggest changes, I think, was just for that couple-week period or whatever it was when that Hy-Vee weekly ad, like one, I think, went away, then it really shrunk. Now I feel like you're pretty much back to normal.
Yeah, that's true. The biggest thing that we've had is, things that we normally probably place in the ad, we're constantly watching that, and maybe going up to the last minute before you actually hit play on that ad to go to the printer. And that's strictly because we want to make sure we've got the supply. And that's the biggest thing, is working with suppliers to make sure we can have enough to actually put it in the ad.
We mentioned that you are going to begin seeing all of those Hy-Vee associates wearing masks. At the same time today, I thought this was appropriate. You announced another employee bonus. I know you've done a number of things here along the way to take care of the employees. So how are they holding up? And of course, do you need more of them? Are you still hiring?
Yeah, we are still hiring. So in select locations, some stores actually already have the people that they need. And then other people, like one of the areas I oversee is customer care in Des Moines. So if anyone wants to come to Des Moines and help us there, we're actually hiring more people. And so we still do have openings. We don't have as many as we did before this started. And we know that some of those temporary positions will turn into full-time positions, just because people are going to be changing jobs, or may decide, okay, I'm going to go ahead and retire early. We've seen a little bit of that already. But yeah, job openings are
You were cutting out just a little bit. I don't know if you can make it.
The other thing is, we talk about the bonus, one of the things that we have.
I think can you hear me still, Tina? I think our internet connection is getting a little bit flaky on us. I think I might have lost her there, and I was about to wrap up anyway. So I will go ahead and do that. But Tina Potthoff, great information there from Hy-Vee. And I think she's back. Are you back?
Oh yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. I lost you for a second there. Is that okay?
I was just going to wrap it up. This is perfect. I only have one more question for you. Maybe
okay, sure.
But so you mentioned that you are hiring. That was where we left off. And
Right. You want me to kind of wrap up that question then real quick?
yeah, anything that people need to know about applying or anything like that?
Sure. If people go to Hy-Vee.com/careers, they'll be able to find any of the job openings that we have available, but we still do have some available, especially in the Sioux Falls area.
Okay, perfect. And then just a long-term big picture before I let you go. The grocery industry, I feel like already was in this really interesting position as far as trying to evolve and meet those changing consumer demands. What does this do to all of that? Has your leadership team had even any time to process this and to look at what the future holds?
Yeah, because we know this will only last for so long. I mean, eventually, hopefully, fingers crossed, there'll be a vaccine, or hopefully this will, go away like the flu. We know that that's not going to be a short-term fix, but eventually we will get back to a new normal. And really, what does that look like? We are currently looking at everything that we have in the store right now, and what needs to happen and what doesn't need to happen. One of the things we're looking at is the future of the standalone salad bar. Will that ever come back? Strictly because I think people now, they're hesitant to even give a handshake. So will the salad bar come back? Will the, donut case come back where you can actually go in and actually pick your donuts? So as you look around the store, even some of those bulk items where you would be able to scoop up your own, peanuts or, malt balls in the store, will those become prepackaged? And that is something we're looking at. Also, people are learning how to cook. Now, where maybe they just always went out, they are learning how to cook, and some people we think will actually stick with that and probably enjoy it. So we anticipate, there was some big discussion about brick and mortar grocery stores and whether or not that they were going to survive, but I think we can all easily see that brick and mortar is alive and well, especially in a case like this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been fascinating to watch, and will continue to be. So I want to thank you again for joining us. Let's do this again. Always appreciate learning what's new there. Hy-Vee, obviously a very forward-looking company and very much on the leading edge of the grocery industry. So it's just always interesting to see what you're doing and know what you'll be working on next. So appreciate it again. Tina, thanks very much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. So again, viewers, if you are still watching with us, come back all week long. We're going to have different video interviews on Facebook as well as on YouTube. You can find those archived over at www.simples.business. So appreciate it very much, and we will be back with you tomorrow.